10 super rare cars you didn't know existed. You know what brings substantial value? Oddities of quality. And when it comes to the world of automobiles, limited edition is a term common in high society. Regardless if the oddity comes in machinery, collections of art and literature, toys, clothing, architecture, or real estate, millionaires crave these rare items. So in this video, we'll be looking at 10 super rare cars that most of us didn't even know existed. That's your cue to click the thumbs up button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. Number 10. Porsche 550 Spyder. The acclaimed Porsche 550 Spyder was built as a track and road marvel, but most buyers use it strictly for racing because the Spyder often outperforms the competition with ease. It was made from 1953 to 1956 by Ferrari Porsche and inspired by the Porsche 356, along with other Spyder prototypes that were conceived at the time. And since only 90 of these cars were ever built in that 3-year span, nowadays there are only about 46 functional units. There's no downplaying the rarity and value of this car if you're an avid collector. So if you got $6 million, getting this classic piece of automotive art in your garage is lucrative and fun. Number 9. 2008 Maybach Exelero. If you're a hardcore automobile enthusiast, you've surely heard of the Maybach Exelero of 2008, or at least you're aware that Maybach is considered the most premier luxury brands for cars. The Maybach Exelero has a twin-turbo V12 engine that gives it almost 700 horsepower and a top speed of 218 miles per hour. On the hit German series Cobra 11, Maybach Exelero was a star. Plus, it was featured in the music video Lost One by famous rapper and producer Jay-Z. And that's how Jay-Z rolls, with an $8 million car in his music videos. Number 8. Bugatti Type 41 Royale Kellner Coupe. Also known as the Royale, the Bugatti Type 41 truly has that royal look and size to vouch for that status. It's one of the largest cars in the world, measuring 169.3 inches in wheelbase and 252 inches in overall length. Plus, it has one of the biggest engines ever made, with its 12.7-liter V8 that's 4.6 feet long and 3.6 feet high. The Type 41, or Royale, was made from 1927 to 1933. Weighing in at 7,000 pounds, the Royale is 25% bigger than most luxury cars of today. Properly named Royale, Bugatti made these cars with the intention of selling them to noblemen and aristocrats for a huge sum. But the timing of its creation was unlucky, as it was right during the horrific times of the Great Depression. So even the elites were thrifty. The chassis alone costs $30,000 to make. Because of those factors, only 7 were ever made, and only 3 were sold. In our modern era, only 6 have been reported to still exist, and you can purchase one for $20 million. Number 7. Jaguar XJ120C. For our next entry, we have the Jaguar C-Type, manufactured between 1951 and 1953. Only 53 models were assembled. 43 of them were sold to private owners. That actually makes this Jaguar the rarest and most expensive Jaguar today. It costs about $13 million, depending on its 2 variations of the C-Type. Buyers can opt for the road version or the track version. The road version comes with a 160 to 180 horsepower, and the track version runs with a force of 205 horsepower. As a matter of fact, the track version won 2 of the Le Mans 24-hour races. Number 6. 1998 McLaren F1 LM. For another super rare car with track versions, the 1998 McLaren F1 LM was built in commemoration for the 5 McLaren F1 GTR that competed in the Le Mans 24-hour races, where one of the GTRs finished in first place. As for the 1998 McLaren F1 LM, the design and engine were heavily based on the winning McLarens, but had more elegance to it since it was meant to be a showpiece that could still soar at track-worthy speeds. Only 6 units for this model were ever made. 5 of them were sold to private owners, and the 6th one was kept by McLaren to increase efficiency of the F1 line. Number 5. Aston Martin DB4 GT Zagato. It's a more lightweight and improved version of the DB4 GT. The Aston Martin DB4 GT Zagato, named after the factory it was manufactured in back in 1960, where it was supposed to have 25 units made, only had 20 Zagato units produced, powered by a 3.7-liter twin-spark engine that gave the car an impressive 314 horsepower and an all-aluminum frame that made the Zagato a whole 100 pounds lighter than the previous model. It was a force to be reckoned with on the road and on the track. The Aston Martin DB4 GT Zagato will cost you about $14.3 million. Number 4. Ferrari 250 GT California SWB Spyder. You can't find any list of the top 10 best cars in the world without Ferrari ranking closer to number 1. If not taking multiple spots in the top 5, the Ferrari 250 GT California SWB Spyder was produced between 1953 and 1964, with only 55 units ever being made because a lot of racing models were built by Ferrari during that time. And if this one looks very familiar to you, you're not having a mental episode. A fiberglass replica of this model was actually used in the 80s blockbuster movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off. The sweet ride will only cost you about $17 million. Number 3. 1956 Aston Martin DB4. The DB4 is the most important car that Aston Martin has released because it set several records after being manufactured in 1956. It was made to win the World Sports Car Championship, which it did 6 times. Plus, it was often pitted against top race cars in the 50s like the Ferrari 250 TR, where it would compete at the same level, winning a Le Mans 24-hour race, and the same year, the 250 TR. In other accomplishments, it was able to win Nürburgring and tourist trophies in 1959. Only 5 DB4s were ever made, and they go for a top dollar of about $22 million. Number 2. 1957 Ferrari 250 Testarossa. Known as the TR, this race car was built between the 50s and the 60s, where it completely dominated the competition in virtually every racing event since its track-ready construction in 1957. Testarossa, or Redhead, referred to its fiery paint job that drew the eyes of every racing fan for decades. It won 10 World Supercar Championships, 3 Le Mans 24-hour races, and more accolades than we have time to mention. The highest bid for the Testarossa was $39 million, thus making it the second most expensive Ferrari ever sold. Number 1. Ferrari 250 GTO. The Ferrari 250 GTO has been nominated as the top sports car of all time by Sports Car International in 2004, and it's even considered the greatest Ferrari of all time by many more hardcore automobile specialists and enthusiasts. It was so exclusive at the time of its release that you actually had to be approved by both Enzo Ferrari and his dealer before you were even allowed to peek at the car, which sold for $18,000 during the early 60s. This exclusivity survived until modern times, with the surviving 39 GTOs getting bids no lower than $50 million. And the highest ever recorded was an unofficial purchase by an anonymous buyer for $70 million. Even if you had the money to splurge, would you spend millions on any of these automobile works of art? And what other masterpieces do you think should be on this list? We'd love to hear what you have to say, so be sure to make some noise in the comments section. And as usual, you know the drill, show some support to the channel by hitting that thumbs up and subscribe button. Ring the notification bell and share this video.